I'm Rob Mann, and I have opinions.
And I'm Raymond Pennie, and it's hot in the United Kingdom. And we're on a countdown. We're on a countdown of 29 days till Scotland play Brazil in the World Cup in
In
Miami.
Miami. Well, Miami Gardens, but it's in Dade County. It's all good.
Close enough. It's close enough.
Uh,
Fort Lauderdale,
yeah,
here we come.
I got my FIFA credentials to work the stadium, so I just gotta go pick it up
Nice.
at some point. I'm excited for that.
Nice. Yeah,
Um,
it's going to be one
I'm
of the
rocking
days.
my I'm rocking my F1 Miami shirt, and that, by the way, I've known Raymond since 2018. This is the first time I've ever seen him in a t-shirt. Raymond
Yeah,
did
I
the
should have, I should have thought
Kylo.
about I should have thought about it a bit, and I'd have been better dressed. But hey,
I've never seen
one
this
of
man
those
in a
days.
t-shirt in the 8 years I've known him. And he did Kylo's field day when we had the gathering that I went to in a dress shirt, a jumper, and dress pants, and still beat our asses, by the way. He's a very
Oh
competitive
yeah,
human male. But
how it
it's
works.
very weird to see him in a t-shirt for me. Anyway, Raymond, you own the agenda today, so get going.
Okay, I just wanted to speak about a podcast and a podcast that I sort of really like. And it's called Lenny's, and it's about product managers. And he invites people on and they speak about different things. And I like to take those things that they've spoken about and I try and manipulate them into how it's going to hit staffing. And this one was done by a guy called Dan Shipper. Dan Shipper is the CEO and founder of a company called Every do lots of AI stuff, so therefore he comes from a good point of knowledge. The name of the podcast was called the AI Paradox, which was interesting because it was more automation equals more humans. And what he meant
Yep.
was the more stuff that AI does, the more you need humans around it to manage it, to look after it, to feed it, to check it, to sanitate it, and to move on. So I wanted to take some of the thoughts that they had in this and apply them into what that's going to mean for staffing if my prediction works. And by
Yep.
the way, one last thing was I think my predictions from Christmas time, they're doing well. Database now update themselves, and if you've got Whisper Flow, you don't use keyboard anymore.
Yeah, I don't like using a keyboard. I like Whisper Flow, especially on my phone. Um, All right, cool. So what we're going to talk about, I think, from Raymond's point of view, is let's focus really on this fact that we don't think that it's going to be an AI job apocalypse as
Yeah.
a first trend, right? And I listened to most of this episode when Raymond
Okay.
sent it to me, and I thought that he did a good job because it's true. Right now, AI needs a watcher. You
Yeah. They need
need
a human.
someone thinking
AI
about,
agents need a human.
yeah, and kind of like automation needed a human too. Just it
Yeah.
usually worked, but like thinking about it once a week, once a day, if you had a lot of automations, and just making sure they were doing what they're supposed to do. So
And I
I,
think there's a great parallel there. I
I
think there's a great parallel there that you can maybe in the world and we're in, let's say we've catapulted forward to 2030 and everything we say now is complete rubbish because it's been overtaken by technology.
yeah,
But right now in 2026 and where we are, um, the people have got used to the idea of a prompt. They've got used to the idea of prompt and they can run it. Prompt
yeah,
engineering, you know what, used to be important, no longer. Now you
no,
just talk to it, everything's fine. And I think the differences that Claude brought with Opus and OpenAI have now brought with 5.3, 5.4, 5.5. All of those things mean you now just chat to it and it works out what you need. Uh, Agents, however, aren't there yet. And
no,
agents, I think we're still trying to work out what they are. We're still
yeah,
trying to work out what they are. And we'd like them to run the same more than once. So I still have
yeah.
my morning briefing.
Consistency. That's what
My,
I'm
my,
worried
my
about all the time.
yeah, my morning briefing does HubSpot, does Jira, does my mail, does my Teams, does what I've forgotten, highlights it to me, and then the next day it does the same thing. Now, that's cool. I'm gradually building on it.
But that's
And
not
I
necessarily
know,
an agent. That is a series of prompts that you've generated
uh,
that just run the same prompt at the same time every day.
and, and where I'm heading is that's the beginning of an agent. And the
Yeah,
beginning of an agent is on a schedule. Then as we move forward, we end up in a situation I will allow the morning briefing to do something. When it becomes really consistent, hey, what I need to do is it needs to pop up and go, hey, Martin, are you going to sell more? Because HubSpot says we're not going to sell enough. Or, congratulations, you sold a lot. Take a rest in the hot weather. So they're the things that we're going to try and do. And I think that's when it becomes agentic. I've got it. I've got my morning briefing now writing response emails. And there's only been a couple where I've gone, hey, send, draft. But I'm trying to build that level of confidence up. So if you imagine you're a recruiter, well, no, let's forget that. Let's imagine you're the sales side of recruitment. Now, it always used to be if you'd come from resourcing and gone into sales, and it wasn't always a big path, but let's imagine you'd go on that path, you could do a bit of sourcing yourself. Well, hey, let's imagine you've got your sourcing agent and you go, I've just been with a customer, whisper flow, thank you very much. Go and find me some people. By the way, I've got a meeting between 2 and 4. Can I have 8 candidates that you've shortlisted for me at that point? And I'll see you at 4.
Shortlisted
And
and
the agent,
messaged.
go do it. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? I think that makes sense. I was gonna
But
say
I
the
would
one.
but I would check them
Yeah,
and I'd read
well,
them all because it's my reputation. They go, hey, I can get you 8 candidates in 2 hours. Yeah, you can get me
but
some rubbish candidates in 2 hours.
that's why the lawyers were getting in trouble because they were just trusting the research
Yeah,
that was being done.
yeah. Whether
Um,
the cases were real or not.
yeah, I do like this idea that you're gonna have to check the AI. I found, remember we were talking about the travel agents still being needed because like they're
Yeah.
tastemakers, they've experienced it.
Hmm.
And I still think you have that part of the human, right? Like, hey, Mr. AI agent, you did a great job, but that's like, should I post that moment? Right? Like that is the
Yeah.
most relevant post. You did a great job, but you also don't have a like time and place filter
Mm,
necessarily of, hey, that might get me into a little bit of trouble. That might be ill timed based on other things going on. So like
yeah.
there's still a human involved. It's just kind of like
Yeah.
that final check or to check if it's real. So
And where I've changed my opinion, which I hadn't thought of until I listened to this. And hey, if you want to listen to the whole thing,
yeah, well, I'll
please
post
go
a
and
link.
do
Don't
it.
worry.
We'll post.
It'll
That's what
be
I was
in
going to
the
say.
show notes.
We'll post a link. We'll post a link. Um, Dan made the point that everybody would bring their own agent to work. So when
Yeah,
I was interviewing you, I'd be interviewing you and your agent, or
yeah,
you and your 5 agents that you bring with me. And I might give you the model that I provide as a company to you to run your agents with, and therefore that gets around the whole GDPR, data compliance, la 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 la. But I'm going to buy you and the agents you run because you come as a team, and by coming as a team, I'm buying you and your skills. It just so happens that I used to interview you for your skills. Now I want to see your skills, and I want you to run the agents you have and the skills that you do as part of the job interview. Why
yeah.
not?
Why not? I mean, it's going to cost you some tokens, so
It's yeah.
um, hopefully we get better at utilizing tokens effectively.
I think we'll
They
stop counting tokens. I think
Yeah,
tokens are a thing of the past.
I like that. Dan made a good point of it, kind of like the golden compass, like the demon on your shoulder that you work with.
Yeah,
That's always
yeah,
it's pretty. It was
yeah.
pretty cool. Um,
Um, and I
yeah,
also think there's a scenario where um, how I work, you know what it's like. I used to work. I used to work somewhere, and they had Bullhorn, and Bullhorn was great, and it had all these fancy bits in it, and I knew how to do it, and I was really great. I leave there and I go and work for somebody who's got, I don't know, we'll pick on Vincere. I don't mean to pick on Vincere, it could have been the other way around. But let's say I go somewhere and they've got Vincere. My ability to do my job may be hampered because I was really good with the previous system I had.
yeah,
If I go back in time a little bit, and this is probably going to date me more than I'm already dated, but there used to be a piece of software called Bond Adapt. Bond
yep,
Adapt had a version, and the version could record all your keystrokes. And what it meant was you could go 5 things ahead of the screen you were on, and it would just catch up. So you could go, and it would go catch up. And then eventually it would stop and you'd be at exactly the right place. And the best people knew all of those things. And that was one of their skills. They knew how to navigate the database really quickly. Take the word database out, insert the word AI agents, helpers, partners. And I think you're going to be buying that.
Yeah. I do like that the fact that the first skill that Claude provides you with is the ability to build skills. Kind of to your
Yeah,
point, right? It's like, hey, skill builder, can you build more skills for me doing
build me some
this?
skills. Well,
Yeah.
I've done something really exciting today. And when I say really exciting, I mean, wasn't so sure. I came off Claude and went to Codex.
Okay.
And I did that because everyone keeps telling me Claude and Codex are on a par. So I thought, okay, I've got 90 minutes, long lunch. I'm going to go and install it. And Codex and Claude are almost exactly the same.
Okay.
It,
Yeah,
it,
they were
it
talking about
is,
that too.
yeah, just the same sort of thing. That's why when Dan was doing it, I was like, I'm now going to go and try. And
Yeah.
they look the same. And I'm now running skills in one and comparing them with the other and asking for improvements and chopping and changing between the two. And
Yeah.
hey, I'm a tech, so I'm geeky enough to try it.
Yeah. And I think, that kind of brings up to the point of like the forward deployed engineer, which we talked about last week.
Ah,
But
gotta love it.
this
Gotta
is
love it.
kind of what we think, right? Like these are consultants now, or an
Yeah,
employee, or
yeah,
just someone who's paying attention to the AI. And I thought Dan talked about, you said, at some point we will be interviewing you and your AI agents, but Dan talked
yeah,
about the fact that most well used AI agents right now are company based. So they're
yeah,
large and the whole company uses them. Maybe there's
yeah,
like a few smaller ones, but right now, like the successful examples he gave are large company, ones. And you need a forward engineer consultant to help run that. And that's that person that's paying attention to it every day and thinking ahead, right?
yeah. Do you remember the episode when we spoke about the operations person and the operation person that looked after
Yeah.
all things tech?
Yeah.
I think their wages have just gone up.
They have to be. Yeah. I mean,
You said they
you
used to
can
be
hire
on
me for that
a
role.
150. You said they used to be 150. Well, guess what? They're now 200 if you can make Codex and Claude
Yeah.
do its thing.
Then connect all the things, get the MCP set up,
Ah,
get everything rolling. Maybe make it work in Slack or Teams. Shout out to
yeah,
Rod, Glide. Yeah, I mean, like
yeah, and off it
it's,
goes.
and then like you have the guys at Toro who have Chrome extension, so
Yeah,
their Chrome extension works across every tab you are
wherever
on.
you are. Yeah,
So you can interact with your ATS data on LinkedIn,
yeah.
or on a job board or in an email, and it's just a Chrome extension, but it's essentially interacting with your ATS and pulling up data in real time from the Chrome extension. So you basically have
Which
you're
is a bit like
basically use
Ipster used to be. Ipster used to be
yeah.
before even AI
Well, this was the
existed.
Fire. These are the guys who created Fire. Remember Fire? I think I
Yeah,
sold
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
once to somebody, by the way, the LinkedIn Chrome extension in Fire, not the VMS part. There was two parts. They
yeah,
were based on the same tech.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
So I also think there was a good point made by Dan that um, the skills hierarchy that used to exist about, hey, I do this and I only do this, and I do this and I only do
Yeah.
this, and now they're blurring a little bit.
Yeah.
So in a situation where, hey, I can go source, how hard can it be? I just get the agent to go and do stuff. Oh, I can go and do sales. I've written a nurture campaign that goes out with something specific. And we sort of, I think what used to be so clearly 180,
Delineated.
180 recruiters
Yeah.
are going to merge together. And I think that could only be good for productivity.
Yeah. I mean, you have the agents helping you, and you're doing the part that you like, which is just talking to people and picking up the
Yeah,
phone, recording content. Shout out to Raymond and I here.
yeah,
A little pat on our own back. But yeah, I think you're right. And you also have like the generalists, the people who understand the business, right? That tech person,
mm,
um, and product managers being able to code and
yeah,
write those things, right? So like,
yeah,
the person who's doing the selling, doing the recruiting
yeah,
could do it themselves, could code an agent themselves, or tell that forward deployed engineer, that tech leader, hey, can you spend a day bouncing around this thing and seeing if it works? Like, I think it might work. And now you're ahead. And this is like when we're talking about like Mike Small from Adecco,
oh
right?
yeah, yeah,
Remember, like I kept saying, like 2 years ago, he was basically telling small IT staffing companies if they had something cool with IT or AI going, like he would
yeah, guide them.
start the acquisition
Yeah,
process.
yeah,
Because,
yeah, yeah,
but now we're there. Like we're getting, maybe we're not perfectly there, but we're definitely cusp, way closer than we were 2 years ago. So
Yeah. And I've
anyway,
still got to convince our first customer to give me their vibe coded agent that we can go and professionalize for them. We've made the offer, and there are people who have been able to vibe code on Replit or Lovable or something, and now they want it to work. And we're sort of playing
so
around the edges of, hey, we will take it and put it into a location where
do,
it'll work all the time.
do you have customers who do a lot of on-site sales? Like they go like they're going office to office, dropping by, soliciting.
Not
It's
as many
more
as we used to have.
light industrials a lot, like in the
Yeah,
States. So you have
definitely.
any of those
That's what I was
guys?
going to say. West Coast, that's what they're doing. They want to be recording stuff. They want to be ticketed on the
Yeah.
thing. They want to go the
So
next.
I built a vibe coded app that uses the Google Map API, and you give it a starting point and you give it the people you want to hit, and it builds the best route based on
Ah,
traffic.
nice, nice.
So to professionalize that, I mean, I don't know if anyone wants it, but it's not that hard
I
to.
think, and I think that those those examples of, hey, it's a problem for somebody and
Yeah,
they wanted to help it and it became a thing is only going to go on and on and on.
yeah.
And I wish that more
Well, you should
people would
build. You
try and
should
code.
start the marketplace so people can just buy
Drop it
bullhorn
in.
based agents.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, hey, I want to recruit this agent to work for me.
Mm. And that somebody must already have that. Because if you and I have thought of it, somebody's smarter than us, and they've
I
probably
mean,
gone,
we
"Hey,
would know.
I'm
I'll
going to
I'll tell
rent
you if
it
I
out."
see anyone engage this week.
Yeah,
that's
no,
gonna
that makes
that's
sense.
doing.
And where are you
Yeah,
going this week?
I'm going to engage.
Let's engage.
I'm not doing this whole thing with you. So in 2018, Raymond and I met for the first time in person at Engage, and he showed me around like a
Yeah,
lost puppy. So that's
yeah,
our origin story as friends. He was like, Rob, let me show you.
absolutely.
He's like, you look lost. Let me show you where to
Yeah,
go.
walk this way,
Yeah,
and then you
just
became
follow
the
me.
star man of everyone from then on in.
Thank you for that. I still appreciate you taking the lost puppy. It was like none of the bullhorn people were actually helping me, so it was kind
Yeah,
of I was
walk
working for
this way.
bullhorn, and
You'll be
I was
fine.
like, what do we do now? And Raymond's like,
Yeah,
no one
yeah.
told you what to
Come
do.
over
You're
here.
like, come with me.
Go sell stuff to people that you've just met.
Yeah, go try and influence people you don't know.
Yeah, definitely. There was
Yeah. Anyway,
there's a last comment about the
yeah, yeah,
podcast. They mentioned the concept of a sandwich, and the sandwich where the human one is in the middle. The human was in the middle of two pieces of AI. Thought, okay, I wonder if you have the human is the bread and the AI is in the
yeah. That
middle.
shouldn't be.
So
I can
therefore,
see
you
that
top
too.
and tail it. Yeah, I can
Yeah,
see an analogy coming.
yeah. And you have like the AI is consulting and the humans just kind of taste making, or
Yeah,
the humans are consulting and the AI is executing. Because like
mm,
you and I could build an app together, and we could be, like a Google Doc if we're both contributing to like
yeah,
or a
exactly.
slide
Like we
deck.
do, like
Yeah.
we do.
So anyway, this is fantastic, guys. Check out the episode with what's his God, his name is drawing
Dan,
a blank. Dan from
Dan Shipper.
every Dan
Yeah,
Shipper.
yeah,
Yep, there you go. And it's on the Lenny podcast.
it
Lenny
is.
has 600,000 subscribers, so doing
He's
something
popular.
okay.
He
Um,
is popular.
yeah, so we'll get that link to you guys, and if you have any questions or comments, let us know. Obviously it's us talking about the importance of another podcast, but making sure that you have
Yeah,
access and insight into
try them
things
out.
that we think are valuable. And Raymond is way smarter than we are, so just trust him.
If only I was. If only I was. What I do know is it feels like Miami.
There he goes again. Guys, I'm wearing an F1 Miami shirt, so he's giving me shit.
Yeah,
All right. I
love it.
appreciate it. Raymond, have a good one, brother. I'll see
Thank you
you
very
next
much.
week.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning into R Cubed, where Rob and Raymond talk recruitment, AI automation, same stuff, training. If you found anything of use in this episode, if you learned something, if we made you think, if you're going to bring something back to your team, make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. We appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy. Cheers.